Good evening, everyone. Are we live, guys? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, guys. Hi. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to Nest for Code. I'm Gaurav. So I'll be taking all these Java sessions. In terms of work experience, right? I have 7+ year experience in industry, like as a working for Java, and I have been taking other batches also as a part of Nest for Code. So I think many of you might have the question that why Nest for Code or why it's right. So we are trying to, like in today's time, right, we know that all of this because of corona and all and lockdown and all, we people have a lot of time. So that's why we are trying to have things like we are trying to help people to be more educated, and like our objective is not like delivering something in quality, like quantity. We believe more in quality, and it's not just we'll be going through only some theoretical concepts. It will be like all the sessions would be more towards live coding and learning programming, right? Our focus is more also towards that everyone learn programming, right? Like you guys also learn coding along with the concepts, right? You learn programming coding along with concepts, right? Right, and once you like join us, like you are a part of the Nest for Code community, right? Okay. And so that's why we want like everyone like have at least all these fundamental things, like we earlier we were doing with Python, now we are doing it with Java. So everyone have all these fundamental concepts, and they at least you guys explore all these concepts, and you don't need to just pay even for learning the fundamentals, right? So that's why we have come up with this idea, and it's because of mainly we started 4 months back, and now we have like it's a community of thousands of people like who are learning. Like we already done with the 4 batches of Python, and it's a second batch of Java. Okay, so let's start with Java today. So okay, so before okay, so guys, yeah, good evening all of you. Good evening everyone. Yes, so as a part of this course, right, we're covering all the Java fundamentals, like as mentioned on the course also, right? Going through step by step. It will be for beginners also and for intermediate also. There will be things to learn in terms of concepts and programming. Yeah. So okay, guys. So before I go ahead, do you guys have any doubts or do you want to know anything more? Am I audible to all of you? Can you guys hear me? Mm. Okay, guys. So we'll start with why Java. So, like before I take into more like why Java, why should learn Java, I wanted to know from you guys that why do you want to learn Java? Can you guys hear me? Am I audible? Am I audible, guys? Yes, no. Okay, guys, cool. Yeah. So I just wanted to know like why do you guys want to learn Java? Okay, if you were saying for web development, what about the others? It should not be the case that it's yet it was just a free course, so we came in, right? You should have something in mind or some reasons. It can be your course curriculum, or it's a part of your college, or you want to Java is preferred by companies, or you want to do some DSA or competitive programming. Why do you guys want to learn Java? Because if I talk about myself, also I know C, C++, Java, Python, right? So if you're learning any new technology, what's the idea, right? It's like it can be kind of a hobby for someone, but yeah, like otherwise most of the people have some objective. They want to do it for placements, or they want to learn it for Android development, they want to do it for web development, or they want, or they are exploring technologies, or they have a hobby, right? So what's the underlying thing that like you wanted, like what you wanted out of this course or out of Java? Okay, I think many of you are saying I'm building a secure purpose application. Okay, some wants to learn it for job. Okay, if you want to do it for web development, yeah. So guys, and also one thing, right? All these sessions, right? They are going to be more interactive sessions, right? So it's not a college lecture where I will be just talking, right? I want you guys to be talk more than me. Okay, so keep pushing things in the chat. Okay, someone saying it's just because of the pointers. That's good. Even I think, yeah, that's actually a good point. If we don't have pointers, because we have a Java in second class, we have to learn to be more clear. Okay, that's right. Like you are learning it for some job, the course curriculum. Okay, guys. So we'll start with. So I think, so when we talk about, right, why Java, right? So what we have Java. So I think like whenever you install Java, this will be the common message which you see, right? 3 billion devices running Java. So it's obvious, guys, right? If Java is being used in so many devices, the requirement of, right, of people knowing Java would be always high, right? Because it's something like, if I say that 90% of people use Windows, right, or 10% people use Ubuntu, so anyhow like demand for Windows would be high, right? Same thing. And we know, right, out of the 90% of the Fortune companies, right, Fortune 500 companies, 90% companies are using Java. So this is a huge number, right? So we know, right, so we know 90% of the Fortune 500 companies are using Java. So obviously, right? So if companies are using Java, they will hire the people who knows Java. Or they will prefer Java in some cases, right? Android development, we know, right? Android development we do in Java, right? Yeah. And large scale enterprise applications, right? We know, right? So if you talk about, say, Python is booming, or we have C, C++ in the language, but when it comes to a large scale enterprise applications, right? All this, they are mainly developed in Java because of the different reasons which we have in Java, but yeah. Okay, so and one more thing, right? Before I go further, so we will having a total, guys. So we'll have total 5 classes as a part of fundamentals. After that, we also have a OOP course, which you can also join, right? And out of the 5 classes, right, there can be an issue like you could not attend all the 5 classes, but we expect you to at least attend 3, 4 classes. Like if you miss 1 or 2 classes, that's fine, but we expect you to attend at least 3, 4 classes for live. Because if I say, right, can we watch recording or can you just go through recording? So guys, in terms of, right, so the objective of conducting all these live classes is not that there is a no resource available online or internet for Java or other technologies. The point is, right, having all the things in a structured way. I will not say that we don't have any website where you cannot find any videos on Java. It's not something like that. This is all something which we are doing live, so you guys can actually learn. You can also ask your doubts. The other alternative, right? We already have videos for batch one, which you can go and watch and learn, right? But the point here is we are taking time from our schedule also, and we are doing it for you, like so you can guys learn with us, right? There will be always a difference between live classes and videos. Videos are already there. Attendance code will be shared, guys, in between of the session, and you can mark the attendance after this. I think let's now focus more towards the concept, right? Okay, guys. So now things comes in, right? What is Java? So I think, guys, these are the reasons, and I would say, right, along with this, like my personal reasons are also, right. I would say that most of the companies, like if you go to any big tech, right, if you go to Amazon, Google, anywhere, they will prefer Java. And also, right, when it comes to, say, competitive programming, DSA, right, companies prefer, like if you already know Java. If you go to startups, right, they will also prefer if you already know Java, right. So that's why it's better. And when it comes to C++ or C++, right, you cannot just go and develop large scale enterprise application in these applications. I would say like when you want to go for say embedded systems and all, these might be preferred. But when it comes to large scale enterprise application, it's more like we go with Java, right? Yeah. Okay, and if we talk about if Java is tough or not, guys, I don't think Java is tough. It's simple language. Like it's what would I say? It's very vast. You will have lot of concepts. You have lot of frameworks because it's being used a lot. That's why we have lot of things there. But it's simple, guys. Don't worry. Even like if you have find Java tough earlier, you will not find with this course. Okay, so now what is Java, guys? So I think like if you have done some courses and all, we know right Java is a high level programming language, right? It's a high level programming language. It's an object oriented language, we know, right? In Java, everything would be in terms of objects and all. Like even the small code we write with classes, which we'll see soon. And we can do cross platform development also in Java. So what does it mean? That there can be a cases like if I talk about say C++, right? They are platform dependent language, right? What does this mean? Maybe like some code which was written on your friend's system, it might not work on your system. But in this case of Java, it's not the case. But we'll see that how does actually it works, or what is actually a portable thing in case of Java when it comes to, right? Okay, so I think this is clear, right? Java, like it's a very basic thing. So now it's come to features of Java. So I think we'll spend some time around like on this some basic concept because we are covering all these concepts also because these are asked in the interviews. Interviewer will directly ask you that what does portability means, or if what do you mean by portability in Java, or what are the features of Java. These are the straightforward questions, and I'm not talking just about the service-based companies. You will find them in the product-based companies also. These kind of questions. What do you mean by robustness? So these are very common questions. So guys, when we talk about portable, so what do you think? What is portable, guys, means? So portable simply means, right? You can move your Java code, right? You can, or we have a very famous slogan, right? Write once, run anywhere, right? I think this is very popular and people use it a lot, right? Write once, run anywhere. So what does it mean, guys? Like you just need to write the Java code on one system and you can then execute it on any machines, right? The next thing comes is object oriented. So this is a feature of Java. Like we know everything is in terms of classes and objects. So guys, I think when we go with OOPS concepts, we'll understand these things better. But guys, so if I talk about C, right? C is a procedural language, right? Procedural language, it means that we do everything in terms of functions, right? So in C, we do everything in terms of functions. But when we go with the large applications, right, or when we go with the enterprise applications, it's difficult to do with anything with functions, right? It's difficult to do anything with functions. It may create issues with functions because we cannot develop large applications in functions. Okay, okay, guys. Yeah, and its robustness. What does robustness mean, right? If you are from a C++ background, right? So robustness means more about reliability. So when we talk about robustness, it's more about reliability. So guys, if we talk about C++, right, you have to do memory management on your own. You have to do everything with pointers. You have to free the memory and all. So all these things we don't have in the case of Java. So it's more robust as compared to this. So this provide all this reliability with Java, right? Java is more secure, right? It's have a lot of infra which provide all these security things. Distributed, right? Distributed means that you can distribute the Java like applications on multiple systems. You have all this TCP/IP protocol. You can have a client-server architecture, and all these things are there in the Java. Multi-threaded, right? When we talk about multi-threaded, it's common, it's normal, right? We can have a multiple threads running for a same application. I think robustness is mentioned too, but yeah, this is cool. So any doubts in this? So how many of you learning Java for first time, or like what's the status on Java, right, guys? So I think okay. So what we have covered so far, why? So that's why like I will keep my speed of teaching, alright. So like how many of like I just want you to know the current status, guys, because Java is somewhere as a part of course curriculum also. So I think in the chat just mention, guys, if you are completely new to Java, like you don't know anything about Java, just mention newbie. If you know a little bit of concepts or you done as a part of course but you don't know much things, just write beginner in the chat. Or if you are know basics of Java, just write intermediate. So guys, just write in the, before I start, just write newbie. If you are completely new to Java, write beginner. If you are know something but it's very like it's not much. Intermediate if you know the basics and you are more here about learning codes. Okay, I think many of you are new here. Okay, many of you are intermediate here. Okay, guys. So, guys, one thing I will tell you honestly, right? So, I have seen a lot of people who claim, who say, there are many students which I have seen. They say, sir, we know Java, but when we start writing code, when we write, say, up to 5 lines, our code was well and good and it was working fine. But when we start writing 10 lines of code, we end up with issues. We could not write code. The reason behind this is, guys, it's the basic things which were not clear, or we have not tried writing the basic problems, and we started somehow with the advanced things, and that's why we end up with all these issues. Okay. Okay, guys. So I think okay, before I go with started, I will just show you like how you can actually install Java and all. One second, guys. So one thing I will just give me a minute, guys. Yeah. So a Python will be also started, guys, by the end of this month. Yeah. Yeah, guys. So I think I'll just share maybe my whole screen with you guys. One second. Yeah. So guys, I think you can just go to the official website of, right. You can just go to the official website of Oracle, and you will find all these detail like how to install Java. Like if you are completely new, you have to install JDK also on your machine. So you can see, right. So I think the links you will also find in the video's description, that how to install Java on Windows, Microsoft, right? So how you can install. So I think either you can install Java 8 or you can install Java 11 or Java. I think 14 is the latest version. So if I just go to in the home of Java. Yeah, guys. So OP concepts will be covering on a weekend sessions, and OP will be covering each and everything which normally being asked in any interview. Like we'll just cover all the questions which any interviewer can ask you in terms of OP. So guys, one second. I think you can just go to the video. Java, Oracle. Yeah. Yeah. So I think, guys, you can just go to this link and you can download. Like if you are doing it for first time, you can see all the links are there: Linux, Windows, Mac. So this is a Java 11 version. So this is more a stable version. So I will recommend you this to download. And I think like I will not spend time on how to install and all. There are links which are good in detail. So you can just go through and download this, right? And we need JDK, guys. Don't download JRE and all. We need JDK. So I think here it's okay. It's a link for JDK only. So I think that's good. I will just tell you also what is a JDK or what is a JRE means. And as a ID, right? We'll be using Eclipse. So you can just go and download the Eclipse also. So how many of you know Eclipse or have heard of Eclipse or ID, anything like this? Have you guys heard of Eclipse or any ID? Eclipse, IntelliJ? No? Okay. Okay, so guys, I will be moving forward and I will explain you that actually what is a JDK versus JRE versus JVM. So guys, so I think okay guys, so I think Java installation part and the Eclipse installation part you can do just with the links in the video's description. Just go and do. If you are doing it for the first time, make sure that you install it with today's session only, right? And if you are using say mobile, you don't have laptop and all, you can use like Google Colab or you can use REPL.in. So that's fine. Okay. Okay, guys. So I think many people are intermediate. So I think, guys. So let's do like I will just have inputs from you guys also. So what do you like? What is you will see these three terms, right? Very commonly used in when it comes to Java: JDK, JRE, and JVM. So what is a JDK? It's a Java development kit, right? It's what is JRE? It's a Java runtime environment. What is JVM? It's a Java virtual machine. But this is full form, guys, and it doesn't work, right? Whenever you are going for any interview or you are anywhere, right? Even for a 5 marks question, you will not get 1 marks for just telling the full forms, right? Okay. What does this actually means, guys? So I will tell you, like if any machine, right? This is required to run, right? This is required to develop, right? And this is to execute, right? Yeah. So guys, whenever we talk about all these things, right? So what does JDK do, right? So if you are a Java developer, you need JDK to develop the code. If you are just an end user, you are not someone who is going to code in Java. You just want some Java application to run on your machine. You need JRE. Or if you JVM, like you cannot get it as an independent thing, it will come as a part of JRE. But yeah, all the Java code run inside the JVM. So, right, if you see your system, right, if you see the processes, you will see a JVM process, which is keep running, and your Java things are running as a part of this process. Okay, but guys, this is very important thing that what is actually how they are different. What is and this can be asked in any interview also. What is the difference between these three terms? Because somewhere they sound similar, but they are very different, right? So you understand, right? So it's what JDK is to development, JRE is for end user or to use Java applications. JVM is a process or a thing which and inside which a Java code is running, right? Okay. Yeah, guys. So I think for me, you can do coding in any platform. Like we are not somewhere promoting Eclipse. Eclipse is more recommended because it's used as an industry level also. But yeah, you can do in VS Code, you can do it Sublime, you can do it in mobile browser. We are fine, guys, with anything. But yeah, it's better if you have a laptop or you can do in Eclipse because you can put it as a tools in your resume also, which is because it's being used in the industries also. Okay, guys. So I think I will use this diagram to actually better explain you guys. So guys, I think you can just see, right? JDK also have a JRE, JRE have the JVM, right? So guys, I would say JVM plus libraries become a JRE. JRE plus compiler tools and debugging tools and other tools becomes a JDK. So if you just remember this diagram, you will never forget the difference or you will never forget what does what means, right? So guys, because as a developer you need compiler also, you need debugger also, you need other tools also. That's why it's come with JDK. But as in libraries there is rt.jar and other libraries. So all these things comes with a part of JRE, right? So is it clear to you guys what is difference between JDK, JRE and JVM? Is it clear to everyone? Okay guys, so I'll start with the first program and let's do a first program in some notepad or other kind of things. So at least you understand that what happens when we run a Java program. So guys, this is a very common thing you will see anywhere, like anyone can ask you that what is the execution flow of a program in Java or in C. So you should be always ready for such kind of questions. So you should know. So if I go on Eclipse, right? If I just directly go on Eclipse, you will never understand that what happens when you execute a Java program because it's internally handled by Eclipse. So first I will show you actually what happens when you execute a code in Java. And guys, these concepts or these topics are as important as some program in any language. But we will spend some time on all this today. We'll wrap it up quickly, and maybe like from tomorrow we'll be focusing more towards coding only. We'll try to write more and more and more code in Eclipse. Right? Okay, guys. So let's see how the program, or like how you should write a first program in Java. Okay. So I think I'll just start my terminal. If you are a window user, you can just start your command prompt. Okay, so guys, I think first thing is like you just install Java, you just install Eclipse. Once all these things are done, you will have Java running on your system, right? Okay. Yeah. So what we'll do here now? So I think I will just go to the Java folder. Okay, it's in desktop. So you can just run your command prompt. I hope all of you have used a command prompt, right? Yes? Have you all used command prompts? I think, guys, like as a developer, or as if you are in a like computer science fields, or if you are in engineering field, it's better to use all these command prompts and all. But I know, like with ID and all, like with all these editors, our job is easy. So that's why we don't want to spend more time on this. So guys, once you install Java, right, all these commands like Java C. So there is a Java C command which we use to compile the code, right? And there is a Java command which we use to run the code, right? Okay, access there. Let's give it access. Right? Okay, so what we can do, guys? So I'll just start writing a code. Say, let us suppose I'm writing a file, say code.java. So you can write this code in a notepad file also. So once you write a code in a notepad file, so guys, what we do, it's okay like if you don't understand the program right now, because we are more focused towards how it's execute the code and how it works. So guys, normally any code in Java we write, right? We start with class, we write a class, and then we write the class name. So let us suppose I'm giving my class name, say code, right? So this is my class name. Right? So after this, what, right? If you want to run a Java program, so we have to write a main method, and this is a syntax of a main method. I think if it's your learning for first time, just understand that it's a format or it's a syntax which is there. We'll discuss what does all this mean, but yeah, this is a syntax for a main method, right? So we have written a class, we have written a main method. Main method is always written as a public static void main, and then in the bracket we write all these string brackets and args. What we do after this? We'll print something here. So in Java, to print something, right, we use system.out.println, and here let us suppose, okay, I think let's do the most famous program which we all normally have, which is a hello world, right? So we have done a program of a hello world, right? So guys, this is our code which we have written with the help of VI editor. You can do it in Notepad, you can do it in any editor, you can do it in any text file. Just you need to save it with a .java extension, because any code we write in Java, we store it with a .java extension. And we'll just save this, right? So you can just save it in a notepad file, guys. Don't worry, like if you are new to VI editor and all, don't worry. Just do it in notepad file, save the notepad file. Just go to that folder, and what we do, we use Java C command. And I think in Windows it works. You can just right click and do open command prompt, and it works, right? You can do the same thing. Yeah, okay. So guys, Java C is a command which will compile the code. So what does compilation means? So guys, whenever you write a code, right, your machine doesn't understand it, right? Machine doesn't understand Java, machine doesn't understand English, right? So whatever the code we write, we have to compile it to make it more appropriate, or to have the machine to understand this. That's why we compile the code, right? And also it's checked for the syntax error, semantics error, other things. So okay, I'm just doing Java C command. If there is any error, it will show, okay, it's gone well. Okay. So one thing you can see, right? It has created a file of a, if I do just code.class, it's created a code.class file also. If you want, I can just try to open this, but normally we should not play around with a class file, right? So guys, you can just see, it's not, this is not made for us, so don't worry if you cannot read this. Class files are for interpreters or JVM. It's not written for us. But yeah, you can open the file. That's fine. right? So you can see in the class file, right, something is there, but yeah, don't worry. But normally, right, whenever you will compile a class, we should not touch the class file, because with the help of class file also Java makes things secure. If someone manually change the class file, right? And guys, all these class files, right, it is known as bytecode, right? This is called as bytecode, right? So, and once we want to execute, guys, so we just need to give a Java command. Java command is to execute our code, and then we give the class name. So I think code is a class name here, so we'll just say code, and you can see it's printed a hello world. So guys, I hope all of you have understood Java C we use to compile the code. When a code is compiled, it generates a class file for us. Once a class file is generated, we can just run it using the Java space the class name, and then it's whatever is the main method, it's execute for us. Is it clear to all of you? Attendance code would be shared, guys. I think focus more towards landing, guys. We'll share the attendance code in some time. Is it clear to all of you, guys? Yes, no, or you were already known? Okay, guys. So now things comes, right, how the code execution flow works and what all things we actually have internally happen during while we execute a code. So okay. So how many of you heard of JIT? How many of you heard of JIT compiler? Have you guys heard of JIT? What does JIT do? What does JIT do, guys? Yeah, guys. So what does JIT do? Is it a Java compiler or it's something else? What do you think? What does JIT do, guys? The people who are intermediate, they can help us also, right? Yeah, guys. So what does JIT do? What is the difference between a JVM and JIT? No? Okay. So I think cover this part, guys. So guys, whenever you write a code in Java, you write in .java file. You compile it with the help of a Java C command. Once it's compiled, it will create a class file for you. So guys, this is a part, right, and it's a bytecode. In Java, we call it as a bytecode. And guys, we talk about, right, code portability. So bytecode, you can just move from one machine to another machine, it will work, right? No, I was not talking about Git, guys. I was talking about JIT. JIT, not Git. Not JIT, guys. Not Git, JIT. I was talking about JIT, guys. JIT is a part of a JVM only. Yeah, guys. So all these things. So this is a part of compilation. So once a code is compiled, it generates a bytecode, and bytecode is also portable. You can move your bytecode from one machine to another machine. Okay. And once all this is done, Git I will teach you guys. Git is very important in today's scenario to learn. And all your assignments and all you will also doing on Git. Okay. Guys, once a class file is generated, right? So once a class file is generated, there is a class loader which will actually load the class. And there are two things, and one is an interpreter and the other one is a JIT. Okay, I think there is some arrow difference here. It will be something like this. I'll just correct it out. This will be something like this. Yeah. Okay, so what happens, guys? This JIT, right? It's just-in-time compiler. This is known as just-in-time compiler. I think you might be right. You might be thinking that we already have a compiler here. Why do we need JIT here, which is a just-in-time compiler, right? So guys, what we do, right? Once a bytecode is generated, I have already shown you the class file also, right? Okay, guys. So Java, right? What Java do? Java is a compiled language or interpreted language. So guys, whenever you write a code, it's compiled, and then it's create the classes file. But internally JVM, right? From the classes, it reads your code line by line and then execute them. So finally, here it will be executed at a machine level. So here it will be executing at a machine layer. Right? This will be the machine thing, right? So you can say for Java is a compiled language. You use compiler for the compiling the code, but inside while running the code, it uses an interpreter. Okay. Yeah, guys. So once your class is loaded, right? So what is like it either it will execute that code line by line with the help of interpreter. So guys, it's not something like that. Interpreter in this case, it's not something that your source code will be run by an interpreter. Your source code will always be first compiled. A class file is generated. A class file is interpreted inside the JVM. Is it clear? Is it clear or it's creating any confusion, guys? Is it clear to all of you? Is it clear to everyone? Yes, no. Sometimes I cannot understand if I am audible or not, guys. Is it clear to all of you guys or am I not audible? I'm not sure. Are you guys getting things? Is it clear whatever is covered so far or no? What about others, guys? Or some people just played it and they are not here. Okay, guys. So I hope this is clear to you guys. So what is happening here? I'll just explain once. We write our code. We use JavaC command to compile the code. Compilation, compiler internally we do all the syntax check, semantics check. Right? There is a separate subject for compilation, optimization, and all will also do. And then it will generate a class file. Class files, it will be a bytecode, which is a portable thing. Then the role of JVM comes in. It will be executed in JVM. In JVM, we'll also have a class loader, which will load the class file. And then the class file either will go directly to the interpreter or it will go via the JIT. What JIT do, right? It's a just-in-time compiler. So it do some kind of optimization also if required. If it's not clear, I will write it again. It's do optimization also. Right? Okay, so I'll repeat again. So what we do, first we write a class file, which is our source code. You can say it a source code or a code. This is our source code. Once source code is written using JavaC command, we compile the code. When the code compilation is done, it will generate the class file. Once the class file is generated, class files are also called as a bytecode, which is a portable thing. You can move class files from one system to other system and they will work as it is. It's not like something like a.out in a C++. Once such class files is created, generated, we can execute them using the Java command as I have shown you, right? Once you start the execution using the Java command, the class will be loaded using the class loader. Once the class is loaded, whatever the code which was written inside the class, it will be interpreted, it will run with the interpreter, or either it will go into the just-in-time compiler, which will compile or do some kind of optimization again, and then send it to the interpreter. So either the code will directly go to interpreter, or it will go via JIT, which is a just-in-time compiler. Just-in-time compiler JIT is generally used for some further optimization and nothing else. Is it clear version now? Is this execution flow going over the flow or what's happening, guys? Is it clear now? Is this flow going over the flow or it's you guys are being able to get it? Is it clear version now? Like people who have asked this? Yes, no. Cool, guys. Okay. So I think what we'll do. Okay. So I think you guys need a break. Huh? So I think we'll just do a. So I think Java installation Eclipse I will cover. Now we'll move to coding part. We'll start with variables and all. Before going this, let's go with the attendance, guys, today. So attendance code is 1720. So guys, you can go ahead and fill your attendance. Right? Attendance code I have already written here. It's 1720. So just fill your attendance and we'll resume. So if you have any doubts in whatever is covered so far, you can ask me in the meantime. I will resume in 2-3 minutes once you all are done with the attendance. And so now we will move to the coding part after the attendance is done. And I will also explain you guys what is all this public static void main, why we write all these things. We'll see, don't worry. I will also take my water break. You guys can go with your attendance part. Guys, link will be in the description. I think you can just find it there. Link, are you being able to find in the description? No. I think I will ask, like someone will ping it in the chat also. Okay guys, just do it quickly and we'll resume. Link is already shared guys in the chat. You can just look at it. Okay, so people who are left to do it quickly, guys. Yeah, guys. So don't worry, guys. I will cover in detail why we are doing public static void main and all. So don't worry, guys. I will see in detail like what all these things are, and I think all these things you will learn slowly. But I will cover what we are doing there. Okay, guys. So I think we'll resume. People who are doing attendance, they can keep doing. Okay, so I think like we are done, right? So we understand why Java, what are the features of Java, how the code execution flow actually works, right? How you can write a code in Notepad, right? What is the difference between JDK, JRE, JVM, right? And next thing comes in Java installation and Eclipse, right? I think this is a homework for you guys, like who are new. They can just use the links. The links are completely given in the description. You can just refer them, right? Okay, and you can do the installation. So as a homework today, you should all do the installation. Right? Okay, so next things comes in, right? So guys, now let's move to Eclipse. Once you start Eclipse, you will just see this screen. So I think as a part of our sessions, we'll be using Eclipse, but you are free to use any IDE, any editor, any link to code. As far as you are doing coding, you are doing assignments, we are all good, right? Oh. So we will just go to new. We'll just go to Java project, right? And here we can just give the project name. So let us suppose I am saying Java 2 2 underscore 1. I'll say Java 2 underscore 1. Like let us suppose we give this name for today's thing, right? Okay. Yeah. So I think welcome we don't need, task list we don't need. So this is a Java project which we have written. So there you will just see in Eclipse src folder where you can actually write the source. So src generally means a source code, right? So where whatever the code would be there, you will write it here. So we can just go, right? And we can do a new, and in the new we can just do the class, right? Because we want to write a class. If you, I will just zoom it also. And here we can just say writing a, so today we'll just writing a class. So I can just say name, right? Okay. So this is our main class, or we'll just say in place of main, let's say we just rename it to some other thing. I think main doesn't look nice. Okay, for now let's keep it main. Maybe I will just zoom it for you guys. Yeah. So guys, whenever we start, right, as I told you, in like to start the execution, we have to write a code with public static void main, right? Oh, this is, I think, okay, this. So this is a main. It's a main. For main, we always use the same syntax. And this is our argument, which will be passed. And inside this, we write our code. So now things comes in, right? Why do we need this method? If I write something like a without the string arguments or without public main, will I be able to write a class? Yeah, the answer would be yes. But so guys, you know, right? Main, you can think it of a address, right? So guys, whenever you go to any place, right? Either you know some door number. I know many times people write just near to this school or near to this college, and when delivery boy call us, we tell him to come here and there. But that's a different thing. That's a different story. But yeah, overall, we have some way, right? We have some door number and all these things to identify, right? Similarly, right? So when the execution starts, right? So there should be some way to identify, right? There should be some way to identify where the execution is actually starting, right? Right. So the interpreter, or like when the code JVM is executing, it should know from where to start. So this is the entry point. So main is the entry point for execution. So any execution will start from here. That's why we also have a main. I think code is already shared, guys. You are joining late, so that's the other thing. So in chat also. Yeah. What the other thing? What is a public? So guys, public, they are access modifiers. But for now, what you can think it of, right? Public means accessible. So because I will we'll cover in oops detail what are all these keywords means, public, private, and all. But for now, you can think it of as accessible to public, right? Right. If something is not public, if something is private, you cannot go and have this, right? That's why main method are public. So JVM can find out or locate, right? So that's why we mark them as public. The other thing is void. I think void we don't need to worry. It's just not returning anything. Void is it's a like when we discuss about methods, you will understand better. But yeah, not returning anything. So this is this is a like kind of a function which is not returning anything. We'll understand more like when we start writing functions, right? And what is a string args? This is an array. Guys, don't worry, like, because I know you don't know array and all, so don't worry about all these 4 points if you will not get much out of this. I'm just explaining you, but like we'll discuss each and everything in also in detail in these sessions, right? This is an array of string. So this is a format, right? This is a syntax. So if I just write the same method, something like this, something like say this. So if I just write this main method like this, right? Oh, this bracket is extra. Yeah, if I just write the main method something like this, the compiler, it will not be there, like while running the JVM will not be able to identify this function. So that's why we follow this format only. If you write this, it will not start the execution. So that's why we always have this kind of a main method from a file where we want to start the execution. But guys, doesn't mean that each and every file will have a main method. This point you will understand when we'll go with the oops things. Okay. Yeah. So whatever the code we want to write, we have to write in here. Is this clear to everyone? So guys, next things comes in, right, is variables. So I think variables we use in all languages. And what does variables means? A variable, like if you just go to the literal meaning, right, from variables, which can vary, right? So they hold the values, right? So variable, like we hold something to store some values which can vary also, right? This simple thing, right? We can define a variables, right? The other thing is comes in, right, data type, right? Oh, someone is saying we missed static. Okay, thanks for reminding, guys. So what is a static means? Class level things. So guys, whenever, right, so there are two concepts of classes and objects. But static means class level can be accessed without creating the object. So guys, whenever JVM wants to run your file or you're running your class with Java command, static means you don't need to create the object without creating objects. You don't need to create the objects to access this. So that's why we keep things static. So we'll discuss static in detail, but yeah, the reason of static is to be being able to access it without the objects, and it's a class level thing. So guys, whenever we define a variable, we define data types. Data types is something like a type of variable, right? But guys, when it comes to variables, right, we have some rules using which we can define our variables. So let us suppose if I am saying, like for integer variables, let us suppose if I am int and I say a, let's say $a, right, equal to 2, something like this, right? Or if I can say something like this. So what all will be considered as a valid variable? Can I say %a, right? So all these things are there. So we have conditions for variables names. So these are rules we have to follow for variables name. What are the rules? Variable name cannot start with number, right? Variable name cannot start with number, but can have numbers, right? In special characters, we can only use. So guys, in Java we can use dollar also, we can use underscore also. Except this, we cannot use any special characters, right? And variables are set of alphanumeric characters. Okay, yeah guys. So this is how we define a variable name in Java, right? If I say a variable name, say %a, it will not be allowed because we can have only dollar or underscore. So I can have a variable name $a equal to 3. So this is a valid variable name. Sorry, yeah. This is invalid variable name because it's contained percentage, right? Similarly, if I say 9 equal to 4, right? This is invalid because we cannot have number at the starting of a variable name, right? That's why this is invalid. But let us suppose if I say a9 equal to 4, so this is a valid variable name, right? Because we can have all these in the number is not allowed as a first letter, but after this we can have numbers, right? And similarly, we can also have underscore. So guys, what do you think? Will it be a valid variable name or invalid? Is this going to be like the line number 21? Is it valid or invalid? What do you say, guys? Is it valid or invalid? What does it look like to you? Like whatever the rules we have discussed, is it valid or invalid? I think few are saying invalid, others are saying valid. What about others, guys? What do you think? It's contain all the underscores. Invalid. Okay. What else? Okay. So guys, underscore is allowed as a first character letter also. We can have it any number of times. Right. So this is a valid variable name because it's contain underscore, which is allowed as a valid characters in Java. I would say that it's not a good variable name, but yeah, Java compiler will never stop you from defining a valid variable name like this. Okay. Similarly, if I say have something like this, right? This is also a valid variable name because it's having dollar. Dollar is allowed in Java. It's not allowed in some other languages, but it's allowed in Java. Okay. So the next things which comes in, right? In Java, let us suppose if I'm say defining a variable name, something like, okay, let us suppose this is variable name, right? So I've defined a variable name, something like this. This is variable name, right? Or the other option can be I can define it something like this. This is variable name. So guys, which one do you think is more readable? Which one is more readable, 25th or 26th? Or let us suppose if I add something more. Which one do you think are more readable, 25th, 26th or 27th? Oh, it's moved further. Oh, so okay, sorry, it says 26, 27, 28. Twenty-six, 27, 28. Which one looks more readable to you guys? 27th? Guys, this is so, guys, whenever you are doing a coding, right? If I say what if a variable name at line 26 is valid or not, variable name at line 28 is valid or not. So all of three are valid, but this is following a camel case. It is following a camel case standard for variable names. So guys, in Java, right, we follow this format which is known as camel case. So what does this mean? The first word, right, it will have a first letter is small. The rest of the words will have their first letter capital and then small, like this. So it's this is a one word, variable is a one word, name is a one word. So is have first letter capital, we have first letter capital and have first letter capital. So you can see it as this is a format which will follow across all the Java users. And normally guys, we have all these standards The reason of having all these standards is because you are not just writing for yourself always, right? When you are working in a company or you are writing some APIs and all, right? You are writing for others also. The other people will also use. You also use the other code written. So you should always follow these kind of standards. Clear, guys? Okay, guys. So do you want me to continue? Like, do you want me to teach something about data types today, or you want me to do it tomorrow? Because today it might be the first day for many of you. So do you want me to teach data types today or tomorrow? Yeah, guys. So if you say today, we'll cover today. If you just want tomorrow, we'll continue from data types tomorrow. Okay, guys. So I think let's everyone vote, then see who wins today or tomorrow. Yeah, guys. So do you want me to cover data types today? Today. What about others? Few people sometimes are in don't care condition that they are fine with that. I can just write fine with today or tomorrow. No, don't write this. At least have an option. Just select if you have 50% chance of it. Today. Okay, I think we can continue. People are saying so. Let's go with the data types. People wants to learn data types today. We'll go today. Okay, guys. So I think there will be two data types which we'll generally see. One are known as primitive data types. Other as known as reference data type. Right. So I think guys, okay, the people who are saying tomorrow, like we'll just wrap up in 10-15 minutes. Don't worry. So yeah. So we have primitive data types. The other one is we have reference data types, right? So reference data types we generally use for variables. Primitive data types we have all these int and all. So first we'll discuss about primitive data types. So guys, these are all the primitive data types which we have in Java: byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, and caret. And like these are the like byte is for 8 bytes, 16 bytes, 32 bytes, right? So like this, right? So this is how it works. Double, caret, right? Okay. So now let's see that how we can define this, right? So I think guys there is one thing which is there. These are actually bits, not bytes, because it will be a 8-bit. So I think you can just consider because it will be a 1 byte. I think there is some typo here. This will be a bits. Okay. Yeah, guys, cool. So I hope this is how we can work with different types of data. Like when we talk about say byte, short, int, long, right? They are all numeric data types. Right? When we talk about float or double, they are the rational data types. Like when we have a decimal values. Right? When we have a case of decimal values, we use all these float, char and all. Right? Right? Boolean we use for some, I think you understand this later, but some true false values. Char we use some for character. Character it means, right? Some any character like alphabets you can think it of. Okay. Okay, so let's see how you can define all this and how does it works. Okay, guys. So guys, while defining all these primitive data types, right? So I think we'll just start with our main method. Okay, if you just write main in your Eclipse and you just press Control space, it will just write the complete main method for you. This is a shortcut which we have in Eclipse, right? Okay. So guys, there are two things. One, we can just define say int a. We have defined a variable. So this is called declaration. I just define that variable and then we can assign the value also, like I can say equal to 3. So this is how I have defined an integer, like a data of a int type. Similarly, you can also define say byte, and you can say byte b, or we can say byte b equal to say 4. Okay? So this is declaration, this is initialization, because we are initializing this value with this variable with a value. Okay? So this was declaration, this was initialization. This double, slash we can use to add comments. So we can use, this is the way to add comments. This is the other way to add comments, right? These are two ways which you can use for comments. So using byte keyword and then a variable name, we can define variables. And we can do the same thing in the same line also. We can just say int a equal to 3. We can do directly like this also. We can just say int a2 equal to 3, and similarly we can say byte b2 equal to say 4. So like this we can also do the declaration and the initialization in the same line, right? So this is how we define all these variables. So using the keyword like byte, this is a byte variable, right? Variable of byte type actually. So this is a byte data type. So guys, when you have say a small numeric value to store, you can store it in byte, like which you know it will fit in 1 bytes or right 8 digits, right? Similarly, when you have a case of bit large, right, so you can store it in a short, so we can define short data type also. So guys, the point is, right, normally you will find people using int or long more, right? Because like if there is any specific case or we have a very small value, then only people generally use byte or short. Otherwise they will be, you'll find more using people int or long. We can define short also, right? We can name variable anything. We can just name say short variable, and this will hold a numeric value, right? Similarly, I can define long also. So long is generally used when you know, right, it's going to exceed. Variable long. We can give the variable name anything, right, like this. So this is how we can define long data type. So we'll use all these in like while writing programs also. I think this is just for your understanding, right? Similarly, guys, we can define float values also, we can define character values also, and we can define boolean values also. Okay? Okay. Guys, now it comes to the, like, this is just we have defined the values, but there are arithmetic operators which will do in these values. Before going to that part, we also have the literals. So guys, okay, I will just explain you. Yeah. So guys, whenever we define say any value, right? So let us suppose if I am saying int a equal to 5, right? So what is this? This is a data type. What is this? This is a variable name. What is this? This is a literal. This is a literal value, right? And what is this, guys? This is a assignment operator, right? So guys, whatever the value is here, so value 5 will be assigned to the A. So what are guys literals? So like literals, you can just go it in the literal meaning of literal. So like something like I cannot change the whatever the value 5 have, right? I cannot say, can you say something like this, right? 5 equal to 6. This is allowed. Is it allowed in any language? Can I say something like 5 equal to 6? No, right? This will not be allowed, right? Will this be allowed? Can we do 5 equal to 6 in any language? No, right? This will not be allowed because whatever the meaning, whatever the thing, whatever the literal meaning of 5 is, 5 will always be 5, right? You cannot just say 5 equal to 6. So that's why they are all called literal. Similarly, we have literals, string literals, we have boolean literals. So there are different various types of literals are there, right? So there are integer literals, there are decimal literals. These are all for octal, hexadecimal. We have floating point literals, we have boolean literals, we have character literals, we have string literals. So literals, they will always have their literal meaning, which cannot be changed, right? So I hope this is clear to you guys. So I think tomorrow, I will just, like, I think many people are asking for tomorrow. So we'll just take a break. So tomorrow, guys, we'll go more into the arithmetic. Okay, I'll just maybe show you some operators today. So guys, we have different types of operators. In arithmetic operators, we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, remainder, and string concatenation. Okay. Okay, so these are very straightforward, guys, like a math thing. So I'll just explain you like how you can do. So let us suppose if I'm defining say int say val1 equal to something say 10, right? And then I'm saying int say val2, which I'm saying 20, and then now it's come to the operator part. So guys, what we can do? So we can calculate this sum, right? So what can we do? We can define more variables, say 1 sum and sum equal to val1 plus val2. So this is a addition operator, right, to add two numbers. Okay. Similarly, if you want to say calculate difference, right, so you can just use the minus operator, and we name this variable say diff, right. Similarly, if you want to say calculate multiplication of two numbers, we can just use a star here. This will be the multiplication. And the same operators, guys, we can use with, this is right now I'm using with integers. You can use it with byte also, you can use it with short also, you can use it with long also, you can use it with floating numbers also. Okay, guys, so I think this is three operators. Okay, guys, maybe I will continue tomorrow. The people, I think some who are new complete. Okay, guys, don't worry, guys. I think we'll just continue tomorrow. Don't worry. So whatever we covered today, guys, right? If it was the first time you were learning all these concepts, I will recommend you to go through the, right. So just go through the today's videos once again, so you understand, you can grasp all these things again. Because maybe you have not, like maybe if you have done it as a part of your course also in college, like you not have gone through all these concepts, so I'll recommend you to go through all these things once again, right. And guys, you need to like assignment I will start giving from tomorrow, but for assignment, right, you have to create your GitHub profile. Like if you already have a GitHub profile, then it's great. All the assignments you need to upload on the GitHub. So you have to create your GitHub profile. Actually, like earlier we were doing it for classroom also, but due to the format people were using, it was not working. And one more thing, guys, like I will be sharing one classroom link with you for Google Classroom where you can ask any doubts you have. So I will be reachable on Google Classroom. So I think that link will be shared with you, like the Google Classroom code, where you can just post all your doubts. Like whatever the doubts you have, you can just post in there. Or you can also post your doubt on the Facebook group. So we'll just share. So guys, how to use GitHub, right? So we'll just add a, like I think we have one video, like how to create. So GitHub is very simple, guys. I think I have not covered it as a part of this video, but I think GitHub profile, right? It's required for your resume also, for everything. Like it's good to always have a GitHub profile. So while uploading the assignments, either you can give your GitHub profile link, or if you are doing it, say in Google Colab, you can give a Google Colab link, or you can give Google Drive link while uploading the assignments. We'll just share a Google form with you. And don't upload your assignments or anything on Google Classroom, guys, because it's very difficult to do things on Google Classroom, guys. Like we faced the issue with last batch, it was not manageable. Okay, GitHub profile, guys, I'll just share a video with you, like how to actually create a GitHub profile, how to use it, how to do with GitHub account. There is already a video we created for last batch, and also how to do assignments and what are the assignments FAQ. So guys, for today's, right, for today, what is your what you have to do is, what you have to do, you have to install Java if you don't have, right. You have to write Java code in Notepad. Also install Eclipse or any IDE which you want to use. Write Java code in Notepad. And execute. You have to use Java C and Java commands, right? So here, this is all these things you have to do, right? You have to install Java Eclipse, you have to write code in Notepad file and execute. You can just write a hello world program, that's fine. And you have to use Java C and Java commands and see the class structure and all. So I think this is what I wanted you to do today. So this is for your learning. And you have to create a GitHub account. If you don't want to use GitHub, guys, I am fine, but I will personally highly recommend you GitHub. If you don't want to go over GitHub, you can go with Google Colab, or you can go with REPL.lt, or you can go with Drives. That's fine. But you should have any link or file which you can share as an assignment. Okay, guys, so now we'll close the session. And from tomorrow, there will be assignments also, coding assignments which will be given. If you have any doubts, guys, about the today's session, about Java or anything, if you want to ask, you can ask now. Otherwise, we'll close the session. If you have any doubts or you could not understand any topic, so how much you got right today, guys? Okay, guys, so there were many of you like who mentioned intermediate. So guys, the people who were intermediate, have you guys learned anything new? The people who were intermediate, have you guys learned anything new today? The people like who are already knowing Java and they are here to revise. And the people who are beginner, how much percent do you guys understand in today's session? How much percent you got, guys, today? And you can use Visual Code, guys. You can use Visual Code. You can use any ID. You can use any ID, no problem. Like, yeah, guys. So the people who are intermediate, how much like have they learned anything new? Or the people who are beginner, how much percentage they got today? The people who are beginner, like how much they got, or they are blank. And don't worry, guys. There are more courses which are coming. Like we are also launching a OP course, which will be like a 3-4 hours course, and we'll covering all the concepts which are mainly required for an interview. And Python course will also be launched. And also, guys, share all like with your friends also, so they can also learn, because it's we are doing it so like more and more people can learn all these fundamental things and they can start coding, right? Because many times people know all the theoretical concept, but they don't know they can't code. Guys, I think if you have Visual Code, like if you this part I want to do in Notepad only, guys. This part I want to do in Notepad, right? Do it in Notepad, guys. After doing one part of this, you can use Visual Studio. If you have already done this, it's okay, guys. Then it's fine. Like for today, you don't need to submit anything. From tomorrow, you will have to submit the assignments. Today, you just have to do all the installation. You have to try all these things in Notepad. You have to try these commands. And that's great. I think people like at least all these confusing concepts are not clear. It's good, guys. Because like our objective is not just beginner. We want the intermediate people also to like they also enhance their skills, and like our focus would be, guys, more towards coding or towards quality thing. Like I'll like not be delivering things in lot of quantities and all. It will be more like whatever we are covering, you understand there well, you go in depth, you understand things properly. Okay, guys, so I think we'll end up the session now. If you have any doubts, you can just ask quickly. And we'll have sessions daily, like from 8 to 9:30, similar to today, right? And whatever the doubts you have, you can just ask. Okay, guys, so I'm not sure. I think there is no beginner who is saying how much percentage they learn. So, guys, if you like, if something like you find a lot of things covered today or something, you can just go and revise once. This is what I will recommend. But start with the installation, start with coding part. So that's why you can be in sync from tomorrow also. If you already have, if you are using some other IDE or you are using some other editor, that's absolutely fine for you. Okay, guys, so we'll end the session now. Any doubts, you can just put in the chat. Those we are good for today. Okay, guys, bye bye. Thanks for joining us today. Have a good night, guys. Bye bye.